think I even need to tell you this, but Michael Jackson made some pretty good music. Okay, but seriously, if you look past the quality of Michael's music, which was arguably the greatest thing that ever happened to this planet, with how many records he had sold under his belt, it should be no surprise that he's often regarded as one of the most iconic entertainers in the past century, with 40 years of work under his belt and numerous concerts that help encapsulate the man's perspective in his art form. But despite the music being the most important outlet of Michael's life and the cure to all diseases known in the universe, he also dabbled into so many other art forms. I know that AI basically ruined the it's not X, it's Y format, but if I can use it for this one time, Michael wasn't just a musician, he was a multimedia expressionist. And I'm not just talking about his live shows either, which we all know by this point is the solution to world peace. He also dabbled in artwork, like the various pictures he drew over the years and the various paintings that he commissioned, which means that Michael would have asked for commissions on Twitter, don't at me. And he also dabbled into video games too, including the Moonwalker game for Sega Genesis, his uncredited work for Sonic the Hedgehog 3, and his voice in Space Channel 5. I think if anything, had Michael continued forward in the gaming industry, he would have done so well with it considering his music and his taste in visualizers. I mean, hell, he already called his music videos short films, so I think having games and interactive media to coincide with his music would have been a brilliant idea. Well, what if I was to tell you that almost nearly happened? That we were going to have a fully fledged role-playing game based on Michael's music and his life as a whole, and it was supposed to be open to the public for anybody to join in and play, basically for free. And what if I was to tell you it was already in the works after Michael had passed away? That game was going to be Planet Michael. Planet Michael was going to be one of many licensed virtual world experiences developed by SEE Virtual Worlds. Only announced around 2010 to 2011, the only knowledge that we had of Planet Michael was a couple of screenshots and notes from both Michael's estate and SEE. And 15 years since its announcement, Planet Michael has basically went nowhere. No further updates have been made from either the estate or SEE, and the only things we got from it now were a couple of other leaks that happened regarding the environments that were going to be put in the game. So it makes me question, what happened? You think for a project as big as a Michael Jackson RPG, there would be a lot more info made about it, wouldn't it? What caused this game to have such a tiny announcement and then die off so quickly? And furthermore, who the f is SEE?
Who in their right mind would name their game company SEE?
Well, we're gonna be talking about all of that here. In today's video, I am going to be giving you all the entire timeline of Planet Michael and try to see exactly what went wrong in the development of it for it to die off so quickly. This is Planet Michael, the Lost Michael Jackson RPG. Our story begins, unfortunately, in tragedy.
Very sad news, Jim Moret, and to all of our viewers. Both the Los Angeles Times and CBS News are both now reporting that Michael Jackson has died.
Michael Jackson, the pop music and dance innovator, passed away yesterday.
Michael Jackson has died.
Pop star Michael Jackson died. Is that pop star
Michael Jackson has died.
Yeah, I'm pretty certain we all know what happened here. Looking back, it's honestly kind of shocking and impressive how impactful Michael's passing was. Now, don't get me wrong, the aftermath of his passing is one that's still being felt by millions today, but on the day of, it was a collective pause for the world. Seriously, Wikipedia and Google both had blackouts because of the traffic increase with people searching for Michael, and his memorial service is the most watched non-sports broadcast in history. And unfortunately, this would also be where the dollar signs started flooding in from businesses. Don't get me even started on what Sony was doing. Hell, Sony announced that This Is It CD collection and film the day after Michael's death. And let's not forget the 2010 Michael album and all those allegedly fake tracks that were added into it. Don't make me get MJ from the clouds to kick your ass, John Branca. Okay, but seriously, there was a lot of heavy greed that was going on after Michael's passing. And one of those businesses that came forward to talk to the estate was SEE. Special Entertainment Events, also known as SEE, is considered to be a pretty big player in touring exhibitions. You might not know them by name, but usually if a company wants to do a real-life event as a promotion for a product or brand or movie or whatever, usually SEE are the ones behind it. Since 1997, they have been doing these collaborations with numerous IPs, including Star Trek, Hot Wheels, The X-Files, the Titanic movie, you get the picture. They've been doing these real-life pop-up exhibitions for a long time now, but by the late 2000s and early 2010s, as the rise of RPGs like World of Warcraft, League of Legends, Wizard 101 started to unfold, SEE started to become interested in the idea of expanding their offerings into the digital world as well. There's just one problem though. It's a minor one. It's not going to be too much. They actually don't know how to do any of this digital stuff yet. Yeah, you know what? That's a pretty smart idea to jump into a business model you probably don't have any knowledge of. There's no way that could backfire on them. So because of that, they decided to participate in everybody's favorite activity during their pastime, buying out another company. In 2010, they had bought out the assets for MineArc's company, First Planet's company, who worked in this kind of digital territory they were going after. They would continue to collaborate with MineArc as they've been in the MMORPG world for a good few years at this point, with their biggest hit being the RPG game 𝘵𝘁𝘳𝘁𝘳𝘁, for better or for worse. So later that same year, they went out to the MJ estate and explained to them their idea for Planet Michael, and the estate had responded saying, "Come on!" And soon afterwards, right before the 2010 Michael album was rolling out, we would get news that a role-playing game based on the music of the King of Pop is now in development. Upon the announcement of Planet Michael came a lot of discussion from both the general public as well as the gaming and music news sources alike. In October of 2010, Michael Jackson's official website had announced the deal with SEE. Martin Bielis, the CEO of SEE, said,
"When we first approached the estate and talked about creating Planet Michael, one of our primary goals was to build an interactive environment where fans from all over the world come together to affirm Michael's lifelong dedication to fostering global friendships."
John McClane, the co-executor of Michael's estate, said,
"Michael was always exploring creative new ways technology could enhance the experiences of his fans, and for that reason, we are thrilled to be working with C Virtual Worlds to build a global interactive experience that benefits an artist as innovative as Michael Jackson."
The general concerns from both the public and gaming and news sources were saying that the idea was interesting, but they had no idea if it could properly succeed as an RPG game. Like, okay, yeah, it's great that we're getting a game based on Michael, but I'm not certain how this RPG stuff would go through. Like, what is it gonna be, League of Legends, and then Michael just doing this hee-hees and shutdowns? Oh yeah, because this game got announced when YouTube was starting to become a platform for these news sources, I happened to stumble across a couple of old videos of these news sources talking about this game as well. I found this one that was from this happily boring titled channel called Game On, where they used the J word in the title.
Yep, a long-time fan of inviting children into his world. Oh, come on, that's fine. This is a virtual reality universe inspired by the various guises of
Psst, Game On, I would highly suggest that you take this video down, not only for the literal 30 years of court cases that proved Michael was not guilty, but also the word you're calling him comes from a fighting monkey in the 1800s, so you're basically calling Michael a derogatory term, and we highly suggest that you correct that and take this video down, thank you. But yeah, this initial announcement rollout gave us some pretty clear insights about the intentions behind Planet Michael. The idea was pretty obvious. It was a massive environment that is constructed to be based on the King of Pop, like his media presence, his outfits, his songs, and even the rarely discussed humanitarian and philanthropist side of him. The actions you would do to partake in Planet MJ was going to be far different compared to traditional MMOs. Instead of using weaponry and swords and combat to fight off enemies, the team decided to go for a more non-violent approach and have each player's moveset based more on Michael's dance moves. I'm presuming this is going to be more in line with Moonwalker and how you could just use the kick and spin to clear areas, or maybe even use the fedora hat as a thing to fight off enemies, but I don't honestly know how they could integrate the majority of his choreography as a moveset. Though, honestly, if Michael was able to use the firearm that he had in the Smooth Criminal video, that would have been f***ing awesome. This initial announcement also unveiled some early screenshots and videos of what this world was going to look like. The first I want to touch on is 𝘵𝘰𝘺𝘰𝘯𝘬 world, which looked to be this darkened cityscape with neon lights and sidewalks, and a bright purple sunset caressing the entire thing. It's pretty much a more enhanced version of the city we saw in the 𝘵𝘰𝘺 short film. The same can also be said for the shortly viewed Thriller world, which is a foggy and rotten graveyard environment. I'm presuming that we would have been able to fight off zombies and perhaps even see the Thriller dance in it somehow. There was also going to be a world based entirely on Neverland, which was the hybrid attraction/home that Michael had sometime after Bad released. Though it should be noted that Michael didn't live in that home after 2006 and would move to other homes and even out of country for the safety of his family, so I could only hope to imagine that this world was trying to capture the spirit of what Neverland was supposed to feel like in Michael's eyes, and how it captures the whimsy of exploration and nature that he craved so much. I mean, the guy had a giant tree in his yard that he would sit down and write some of his songs in. Which, by the way, fun fact, Frank Ocean would actually reference this tree in his song Pink and White. I just thought I'd mention that. There was also plans for costumes and bonuses that were MJ themed, and some of them also having to be paid with real money. Yay, one of our first examples of microtransactions. Oh, I'm so sad this game is gone now. Oh, I'm so sad. Another thing I was really interested with Planet Michael was the potential humanitarian side to be shown. Not only with the Neverland Ranch being in the game, but also that proceeds from the game were gonna go to Michael's own foundation, the Heal the World Foundation. I actually really like this idea because it gives the fans another way of interacting with MJ's estate and family, and also finding a way to continue improving the world, just like what Michael wanted. On top of all of this, we'd also get some frequent updates from the official Planet Michael Twitter account for the game's status and potential release. Man, everything about this game is coming along so great! When is it coming out? It's not coming out? Will we still be getting any updates for it? Oh boy. Yeah, with all the good intentions that SEE and the estate claimed they had with the Planet Michael project, there seemed to be a few zippers that needed to be zipped up. For one thing, how was all of this even going to work? Like the dancing mechanism before. How was that going to work with fighting off enemies or perhaps other players if that was even going to be an option? How would these worlds not only connect with themselves, but also with the other worlds that surrounded it, like the worlds from other franchises? Also, how are they going to make an entire virtual world experience possible in 2012? Keep in mind, this was trying to be a different kind of game compared to what we were given with World of Warcraft, and this would also be a whole decade before the advent of the metaverse. Okay, so maybe things were even back then.
There's one more feature coming soon that's probably the most requested feature on our roadmap. Legs.
There's also the idea of the cosmetics being individual payments, and I know that was a thing back then with games like Candy Crush, but microtransactions have gotten so bad in video gaming that it damn near made me chuck the whole idea of gaming out of my head altogether. The idea of having to pay more for what should have been a one-time experience is a very bad idea given the original source material that you're working with, as Michael was very well known for getting aggravated at Sony for not only how he was treated, but also the lackluster marketing they had done for Invincible. I don't think Michael would have wanted his fans to undergo with this level of greediness. In fact, this whole idea had been debated heavily by fans on whether or not Michael would even want this. I'm very certain that this was a concern expressed by the estate in SEE, but still, usually with these kinds of projects, businesses tend to be a bit more opportunistic about it. There's some bit of foul play down the pipeline somewhere with any sort of posthumous release. And keep in mind, this would be months before the 2010 Michael album. So if there was controversy that happened in that, there's a good chance there would have been some controversy here. Also, I'm just gonna be honest here, creating an entire game that relies heavily on other people's intellectual property is not the smartest move, buddy. It'd basically be like saying you're creating a new mom and pop shop, but only selling AliExpress products. Oh wait, having a game based entirely on different IPs and it being a game made to be played for years on end and one that is essentially free to play, that is going to cost you millions, and you would need to make a really lucky deal with these brands to see it out the door. And that kind of game cannot be created in under a fortnight, after all. Having to resort all of that money just for intellectual property alone, and all of this being in 2011, was potentially way too much for SEE to keep up, let alone with maintaining servers and player bases and logins and everything. They were stepping into the hottest water imaginable for the video game industry. Pretty much from the get-go, there was a lot of different opportunities for this project to fail. And that really hurts to say, because I do like the idea of an entire virtual environment that would be based on Michael's life, but there was a good chance that things would have been bad right from release. In fact, it actually got pretty bad right before the game even finished development. So, you know that Planet Michael Twitter account that I told you about earlier? Well, the updates for those were pretty sporadic and only for a few months, as in February of 2011, we would see the final tweets sent out from this account. There wasn't even any warning signs that the project was going to come to a halt. It just kind of ended abruptly like that. A month before that, in January, it had been reported that SEE Virtual Worlds had acquired another environment based on Entropia Universe called Planet Calypso. The acquisition was a massive one at that, costing them over $6 million, and it still to this day is one of the most valued transactions in video game history. And by 2012, it seemed that the collaboration between MindArc and SEE had came to an end. In fact, now, if you go and type in the original URL for SEE Virtual Worlds, it would immediately redirect you to the new website for just their regular toying exhibitions as usual. As the 2010s continued on, it seemed that SEE and MindArc had went their separate ways. SEE went back to their original wheelhouse as usual, continuing to make touring exhibitions, and right now they are currently working on one based on the new Smurfs movie. Wonderful, I guess. MindArc would continue working on Entropia Universe as per usual, and they recently had moved on from the CryEngine, which was based on the Far Cry games, to the Unreal Engine, which is based on Fortnite. Ha! Isn't that funny? You know what? They're doing great in this video game business. I wonder what else they're going to be working on. Oh! Great! And so far, pretty much none of these companies had ever talked about Planet Michael ever again. And I would not be surprised if this was related to the estate, because they once banned Funko from ever talking about Michael after they worked with each other in 2011. So it seems like they have been blocked from ever talking about it or ever working on it again. And hopefully this would help continue making the estate the great place to be able to archive all of Michael's work and continue putting out to fans while you're putting that on the screen. So now the question is that it? Is that really all that we got out of this? Some lousy low-res photos and videos and some vague platitude promises about what the game was going to be? If this was even going to be a part of the Entropia universe, which all of that was really confusing to read, by the way. You can understand why this took so long to make. Is that seriously all that we were gonna get out of what could have been the most promising project ever regarding Michael? Well, yeah, unfortunately that was. But we did get a couple of things afterwards. Okay, so I was just trying to search up some screenshots for the game when I uncovered this page that was from a website from a designer named Jordan Halsey. Jordan had been in the designer world since the 90s. He had worked on a couple smaller projects in the past, and coincidentally enough, he actually got to work with Michael while he was still alive because he made that really cool 3D Jackson 5 visualizer that would have been for the This Is It concert. So under his portfolio was a page that included some insanely high quality, and as of recent, undiscussed, photos from Planet Michael. The version of Thriller World that's presented here has so much more flair to it than the gloomy, dark graveyard from the original promo. It looked like there was going to be a club in the world that you could potentially go inside too. Maybe even have an intense battle with some zombies, f***ing Shaun of the Dead style. We also got the screenshot for what would either be 𝘵𝘰𝘺𝘯𝘬 World or what could also potentially be the Bad World, as the videos for Bad and The Way You Make Me Feel both took place in a city. Well, mostly for the beginning of Bad, as we know the song takes place in the subway. The last photo I have to share is this really interesting overworld minimap. And as far as I could tell, none of the photos or videos we've seen had structure in this detail before, so this might potentially be the entire minimap for Planet Michael. It's really interesting to see what kind of environment the game was going to have from a top-down perspective. I have no idea if we'll ever get to see more photos or leaks or whatever, so having this minimap is at least a really good sign for things to come. And this portfolio also lists these images under the title Crytek 2.0. I tried to research on what this meant. Maybe it was a 3D modeling program or a game engine or whatever, but instead what I got was the game company Crytek, who are responsible for the Cry engine. And if I'm not mistaken, this could mean that Planet Michael was going to be run under the same version of the Cry engine that Entropia Universes ran under, if this was going to be a part of the Entropia universe. Though once again, that's unconfirmed. That's just a lucky guess that I had, so who knows what Jordan was thinking of when he listed it under here. I also found this video for what looked like a big giant carnival that was based around Michael, but it turned out that was just a completely different project from another MJ fan that just happened to be titled Planet Michael. Also, this guy's really cool. You should check him out. But yeah, that was it. It's honestly really disappointing how lackluster this rollout was. I think the idea of an MMORPG based on the King of Pop would be incredible, because Michael was always really known for his visualizers, so having that in video game form would have been legendary. And thankfully we wouldn't get something that far off from it, as in 2011 we got the Michael Jackson The Experience games, so at least we got that out of a video game related to Michael. But that would be the last of it. I'm sad that we haven't got to see more. I'm sad that this game never really got to go through properly. And I'm sad that all of this was such a big missed opportunity, because this game could have been potentially a new gateway for many young, inspiring MJ fans. And potentially enough, this could have been really helpful for the Heal the World Foundation if it would have been tied with that. It's so sad that all of this is a missed opportunity and a massive what if. Pretty much like the other big project that Michael was working on before he passed. So to anybody who's currently working over at MindArc, SEE, or the MJ Estate, please do us a favor and try to preserve Planet Michael. The amount of ambition that this game had going on was quite remarkable for its time, and I'm certain that it probably would have never happened anyway, considering what kind of environment 2011 was for gaming. But I do think its ambitions would have been on the same level as what Michael would have had. After all, Invincible to this day was the most expensive album ever produced, and unfortunately it didn't go through that well. Well, at least at the time, as nowadays fans absolutely adore Invincible for its sound and its unapologetically raw, lofty ambitions. Hell, it was my favorite album too when I first heard it at 16. So if that could have happened to an album that didn't go well at first, but then succeeded later on, I'm very certain the same probably could have happened to Planet Michael. We're already losing a bunch of different games right now thanks to greedy businessmen and not wanting to preserve video games. They're slowly trying to ruin the things that we are supposed to own on a daily basis. And we might have not owned Planet Michael either if this was going to be an online environment, but if it could be possible to let us have it, that would be great. And I think Michael would have wanted that too. And to end it on an inspirational thing for those that want to take something out of this, just continue doing what you love. Keep preserving what you are making, because one day, you'll never know when you want to see it again. Hello everybody! Thank you so much for watching my essay video on Planet Michael. This was a very massive project to work on because there was a lot of confusing shit to unravel, and I'm so happy that it turned out the way it did, and I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did making it. I want to give a big thank you to Picpan for doing some light narration, for reading the quotes in this video. If it wasn't for his epic performance, this video wouldn't be as epic as it is. But I want to hear what you think. What are your thoughts on Planet Michael? Do you think it would have gone well? Do you think it would have gone horribly? Tell me in the comments. And if you have any other suggestions for what you want me to talk about next, and if you have anything else you want to submit to me, you can submit them all via all these social media links that'll be on screen right now and in the description below. And if you enjoyed this video, then be sure to hit the like button, and if you're new, the subscribe button and the notification bell so that way you'll be notified whenever I upload a video. And if you want to support me even further, you could go check out my Ko-fi and my merch store, which will be in the description below. Anyway, with all that said, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.